Hello. Hello.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor.
Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the Invincible Podcast, the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a bi-weekly show where friends get to sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book by Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me today is TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
And Bill.
It's also Bill.
And joining us is Liz.
Hey.
And Brittani.
Hello.
Welcome back. It has been 6 months.
I don't even know.
Wow, no way. Oh, it has to have been, yeah.
It has to have been.
At least
Well,
6 months.
Because 6 issues.
It's been about 6 issues.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
There was a delay though, so it's actually been longer.
that's what I mean. So it might have been almost 7 months since we had the new readers here. A little bit of housekeeping though before we get into this. Remember, you can find us on both Twitter and Facebook. You can listen to our episodes on YouTube. Everything, from Spotify to Stitcher to iTunes. We love iTunes reviews. You can also email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com, just like Cory did. Now, this is an email. I want to read this real quick. This is from Cory Adams. He says, "Hey guys, my name is Cory Adams. I've been wanting to write into the show for a while now, but I haven't gotten around to it. My journey with Invincible..."
I got the same email on Facebook.
Did you?
How about that, Cory?
Is this Cory Walker in disguise?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. That would be funny
This
though.
is Cory ... Adams?
Adams?
Question mark?
He did put a question. No. My journey with Invincible actually began with issue 133, The End of All Things Part 1. The main reason being that I saw that it was the Young Blood variant, and I thought it was cool, and the fact that that month Image was doing the promotion where they were only 25 cents. I've always heard of Invincible and thought it sounded interesting, and plus, I could definitely afford 25 cents to try out a new book. It was the funeral for Oliver, and I was completely hooked from the first read. Ryan Ottley's art blew me away, and the coloring was so captivating. I didn't know much about these characters and their world, but I couldn't wait to find out more. So I immediately started reading trade after trade after trade, flying through them with anticipation, as I couldn't wait to see what happened next, and within a matter of months, I had gotten caught up entirely. Now with the disappointment that I would wait from month to month to get the Invincible stories, but it was worth it. It was definitely bittersweet to know that I was getting into a book that would soon be ending, but I don't regret it in the least. Invincible had such an emotional and lasting effect on me, more than any other book ever had. I could see so much of myself in Mark, it was eerie. Cory actually talks about how when Tara needed a break in Telescria from being overwhelmed with, or Eve needed the break from being overwhelmed with Tara, and how he had to deal with that with his kids, and he showed it to his wife, and it was similar and everything like that.
His wife needed a break from Telescria?
No, from just
Children.
Oh, yeah.
And then he said no other comic has ever made him say, what the fuck, laugh out loud, cry the way this book has. Aside from just nerding out and being a fanboy, other reason this book meant so much is that it gives me hope and inspiration as a creator myself. I've been an aspiring artist for quite some time, and as an artist and a fan of art, I usually look up to guys like Jim Lee and David Finch, who I've loved, but honestly, with the amount of detail that goes in the work, it's sometimes straining because there's so much going on. I also love the stuff that has a simple, cartoony vibe, but I've always loved stuff that has a good mix of both, and that's where Invincible comes in. I've loved how Cory Walker was able to show so much action and energy in his pages while still keeping it fun and appealing to look at, and then Ryan Ottley, who takes it a step further. Writing-wise, Robert Kirkman's ability to focus on just emotional ties to characters and personal relationships where the superpowers aren't as important as the people who have them. Plus the fact that we're both from Kentucky gives me hope that one day I can get my stuff off the ground as well. Thanks for listening to me ramble, guys. Love the podcast. Glad to know that you're going to keep it up even though the book has ended. I can go on and on about that, but I'll leave you alone for today. Thanks, guys. Cory Adams.
Jeez, Cory, leave us alone.
Right? So Cory started reading it at 133.
Yeah.
And then
I
went
love that.
back.
I don't think we've ever,
That's what I mean.
since the podcast started, I don't think we've ever heard anybody that started that late.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, Cory, you're probably hearing this, but I'll probably send another, I'll reply to you anyways. I want to know what that was like. Like, did that kind of ruin it for him, knowing that Oliver's gonna die, Eve's gonna survive, Ellen's gonna survive, they're all okay, they're on Telescria, they have a daughter named Tara. You know what I mean? Like,
So
that shows a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about all the things that happened in 133. So they got married.
Yep.
The death
Right?
of Oliver.
The death of Oliver. Who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they? This isn't Earth.
Ellen.
Like, what's this
Like,
alien?
jumping in
Why is
so
he
late.
a grown up? Like when he
Yeah.
gets introduced, he's a baby first of all. But
So
I mean, then he grows to like Kid Omni Man. So I guess you can kind of put it together. But I feel like I wonder if he like forgot certain things in 133 when he went back. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Because that's
it's
a
still-
lot of content all at once in your face.
There's
Oh, yeah.
nothing different between that and going to movies and it's like, 3 weeks earlier or something like that.
True.
And it's still cool to
Sometimes you
see
know.
what happened before.
I think it would be
Right.
cool
That's
because
true.
I literally just thought about that. Okay, so he saw Mark and Eve get married. And
Yeah.
then he goes back and reads issue 1 through fucking 13, 14.
He's gonna think, well,
and you're like,
he-
who the fuck is this Amber girl?
Amber.
And like, what's going on? And like, I think that, like, when is Eve gonna... Shut up, TJ.
But you knew. I mean, even I knew.
Exactly.
Being
So
a
then
friend.
Everyone knew, but I mean, still, it would be kind of cool to not even know Eve and see how they kind of butt heads in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know? And then instead of butting heads, they...
Yeah.
But uglies.
Still an interesting,
Yeah.
an interesting perspective going from that way.
We're getting a lot of complaint emails on that one, that
I
comment.
know. I don't know where.
I said butt uglies instead of bump uglies.
Well,
Now-
you said it.
now the
you
emails
said
are
it.
coming.
We're done.
So last week, no, 2 weeks ago, we talked to Robert Kirkman, and TJ, you told him about the idea for the Oblivion Song podcast.
Yes.
Tell people about that.
Yeah, we're going to be starting kind of a spin-off, if you will, of the Invincible Podcast, kind of continuing and looking to the future of what Kirkman has in store for us next month, Oblivion Song. We're going to be going over that issue. Obviously, it's going to be coming out. We don't have like back issues to talk about. We don't have many characters to talk about. This is going to be a monthly podcast versus a bi-weekly podcast like we do for this one. And we're going to be releasing a new episode the Friday after each issue releases. So if there's a delay, there's also going to be a delay on our podcast. So if it's Wednesday and a new issue of Oblivion Song came out, that means that Friday a new episode of the Oblivion Song podcast will release.
Mm-hmm. It's just more of a companion to go along with it.
Right.
And the Invincible podcast next episode in 2 weeks is going to be all about Guarding the Globe, which
I've never read.
Yeah, which is volumes 1 and 2. We're going to try and lump it all in one now instead of spreading it out over multiple episodes. And we want to do it a little bit differently where it's a little bit more relaxed instead of following it page by page like, we've done with a lot of the other tie-ins and, new readers and everything like that, where the first bit of the episode is going to be all kind of spoiler-free. So if anybody is interested in Guarding the Globe or hasn't ever read it and wants to kind of get an idea of what it's like, what we thought of it, spoiler-free, we'll talk about that first and then go into a little bit more of a, in-depth review and discussion on it.
I don't think I've ever done a spoiler-free thing
I was
before,
saying, it's
so
gonna be really hard for
I'm
you.
nervous.
Yeah.
It'll be just really quick. Like, did you like it?
Yes.
That's what I mean. There you
Okay.
go.
All right.
Done.
As long
You
as I can
did
say
it.
just yes or no.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it. It'll
I
be-
read some Guarding the Globe, but I don't remember like nothing.
Isn't that where
zero.
you were talking about like best tigers predominant and it?
Yep. Guarding the Globe takes place right after, right when Mark goes to the Viltrumite War.
But I feel like Best Tiger is more Invincible Universe.
Both. Invincible Universe is essentially Guarding the Globe. They just changed the name.
Yeah, it's
It's all the same.
it
Which one
contain-
came out
it-
first?
Is that her
Guarding.
that they showed at the end of Invincible?
What's that?
No, best tiger is the guy who has like the blindfold and the guns.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He was very cool.
Yep.
Sounds cool.
Apparently. I
Well, you'll see.
Yeah.
Did you
Powerful.
did you
That'd be
listen to
great.
our interview with Robert Kirkman?
No, because I didn't want any spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should listen to it
No,
now.
I can. No, I
and
can.
I asked him if there's any characters that he wished was in more story or like wrote more, and Best Tiger was his guy.
Oh.
He said he didn't really get to write him much because Guarding the Globe wasn't written by Kirkman, or was that Invincible Universe?
He co-wrote, like, I think
Yeah.
he oversaw.
Oh.
He didn't get to
He didn't get to
initially
write a lot of
it.
them. Yeah.
Right.
So everybody has 2 weeks to catch up on Guarding the Globe. If you haven't read it before, read it, do your homework so you can, send in your thoughts and be a part of the show for that.
Read that shit.
On to some Invincible-related news. They officially announced the Adam Eve action figures. The ones that Kirkman showed us.
So that's That was it officially released?
Yeah,
that
they're
was.
going to
was.
be at the Emerald City Comic Con. So there's the regular version and the bloody version that they
And
showed.
then
But if you go back to we won't mention it, but if you go back to our interview with Kirkman, the ones that he showed us,
He showed us all 4.
There
and
were
there was
some
two-
more of them
yeah, you
two
can
more.
figure it
that
out.
weren't announced yet.
Yeah,
you
so
can-
we're assuming that's going to be Megabox, right?
I don't remember them saying Megabox really big on the front.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
they?
I don't remember.
I don't remember them saying Megabox on
It was a little blurry. But yeah. I don't know. We'll see. That bums me out a little bit because Megabox gets expensive. Especially when they're $25 a piece.
But you know what,
For
like-
the regular figures themselves and then Megabox on top of that.
Like I love Skybound. They bring us great titles, but that Megabox, man, I hope Invincible's in it because ultimately it's
a
if
Walking Dead
I can be
box.
a little critical, it's a Walking Dead box. Everything in it is Walking Dead, except they'll
The-
throw in like one variant cover of another title.
The box that had the Invincible figures in it was actually a good one. That one
There
didn't
were-
have
yeah.
as much Walking Dead
There was
in it.
variety in there, but like the last like 2 or 3 that came out, every item
Yeah.
is Walking Dead, which I can buy Walking Dead items anywhere.
Normally,
I
yeah.
understand they're exclusive to the Megabox, but
Yeah. But they're on like a hiatus right now anyways, right? So maybe they'll
hiatus. No, they do it like every quarter, every 3 months.
Oh, okay. I thought it had been a long time since the last
The
one.
last one was December, and the next one's next month. So
Yeah, that lines up. So we'll see, and we'll talk about it on the podcast if that comes to be. Otherwise, the final issue artwork went up for sale.
yes,
Well, TJ and I were in Disney World. TJ, you got a page. You got 2.
I got
You
2.
did? What did you get?
We both did.
Yeah.
You and Ryan both got pages?
Yeah.
What did you get?
We'll get to it when we go over our issue.
No.
We'll get to it when we go
We'll
over
show
the
you when
issue.
we go to the issues. But it was funny being in Disney World, scrambling because they go fast. So that was
We
fun.
literally we're walking through what was it, Animal Kingdom?
Animal Kingdom that
And
day.
we're just walking through, and then you and I separated. But before we did, we like looked at each other and we're like, "You gonna?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm gonna." Are you gonna? And you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna." And then we all, both of our 2 groups sat down to eat at different sides of the park, and we just like
Yeah.
we're hammering
What-
our phones trying
what-
to get it.
How much were they?
Mine was like
TJ's was expensive.
How much?
For both pages? Or
I'd
one
rather
page?
not say on the air.
That's
Wow,
okay.
dude.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's okay.
All right, so on to our main topic. I'm your host, Ryan, and joining me today is Liz
Hey guys.
and Brittany.
Hello.
So we are continuing our new reader series here on the Invincible Podcast.
But overall, I liked it.
Yeah, so
Because
I
there's
guess
comedy,
that's a good question.
There's there's sadness. There's a little bit of everything. There's every emotion going on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and actually one of my questions I wrote down is, will Nolan be Invincible's enemy? And, it became very clear that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Is he the Joker to the Batman?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So I'm still devastated about it a little bit. to be
Yeah, no,
honest.
it's bringing back.
I'm sorry to bring
I'm
this back.
pissed. I'm angry about it. Omni-Man is back.
Yeah, yep.
Holy crap!
That's how I was actually
I
at
wasn't expecting it to be that soon. Jaw drop.
jaw
Yeah.
dropped.
No, there's a very similar situation to at my house. Is I was sitting on the couch reading it, and I was like, what's happening? So I was like, he's back. So, yeah.
Fight.
Yeah, near the end of every comic, you're like, oh, yeah, oh.
Yep.
So many mixed emotions.
I think I miss my wife. I hate you. I knew it was gonna happen. I said, and she's gonna freaking take this piece of shit back. I'm just,
That's something that you've been saying since volume 1.
I was so mad. I can't even tell you. And then here comes Lil Oliver, who's only been practicing her in training for so long, and he freaking destroys
Fucked
them.
him up.
Fucked them up. So
Oh god, I love that.
to me,
whole
I was kind
page.
of like, whoa,
Yeah.
what
Like
just
he's-
happened?
Oliver's like coming out
Yeah,
of.
Oliver flying through one of the Mahler twins, and his intestines are just all across the
I
page.
love that page.
Oh, it's so sad about Rexplode.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is how I feel about comic book universe, that I never believe anything.
So after that, he just fucking annihilates Eve. Like, hand through the body.
I know, but I'm feeling like she's not gonna have the baby.
Well, I can't personally wait to see Oliver again.
Carla gets a frying pan.
I was not expecting that. I was
exactly.
like, oh, shit.
Yeah. She got crazy. The whole killing thing, I just kind of
Your
threw
brain
aside.
just goes like a million. I'm like, he's in heaven.
He's getting greeted at the pearly white
God's
gates.
just gonna say you're doing a good job. You can go back.
I thought that was nuts, and just the artwork of his throat expanding was awesome. It was so good. And there go the eyes.
Yeah.
So there's the fourth time.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting any of that.
I was just like in shock, like what's happening?
Yeah.
And I was like, here it is. Like Rex has definitely decided, like, this is my path.
Well, that's what I was focusing on. I wasn't even focusing on like what Robot's plans were. I was like, how is Mark gonna get back?
So Liz, it has been so long.
Yay! Cecil dies. You see it now. You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
You can't unsee it. Sorry. I was so mad. I was so mad. I think I actually threw my phone. And again.
Oh my god, I didn't even noticed that was Galaby's.
Oh.
Britt.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yes.
wearing him.
Yes.
That's so fucked up.
I'm so glad you realized that on the podcast. We had to wait 4 months.
Nope.
That's not acceptable.
That's not acceptable.
No.
So it has been almost 2 years since Liz and Brittany started reading Invincible.
That's crazy.
Really?
Well, you guys were on episode 5. This month is our 2-year anniversary.
Holy shit.
So almost
August.
2 years, yeah. So
That
you guys,
August.
We
March 16th was our first episode.
Oh, you're right, and we did 2 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, you're a couple months shy of it being 2 years since your first episode.
Woohoo. Wow.
Yeah.
We're such nerds.
We met up like 7 months or so ago and talked about the first 6 issues of The End of All Things. Mark's plan, Oliver's funeral, getting the Viltrumites to come to Earth, and it ended with Thrag killing Nolan.
are we going over the final 6 issues right now?
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're just going over like the final issue.
No. Like,
Ooh, this is gonna be a long
No.
episode because once we get to that final,
No, I'm gonna go
Let's
through.
go.
We're gonna go.
Let's go.
We're gonna go through the final 5, other than last issue, pretty quick.
Yeah.
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 So, the last thing we talked to you guys about was Nolan's dead. It was Mark's face screaming,
Right.
and we even did a whole episode of all of our favorite Nolan moments because we were so convinced that Nolan was dead.
I think
Even though Liz was the only one to be like, yeah, you didn't believe that.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah,
I didn't believe it.
You don't believe that anybody dies.
No, I still don't believe Oliver's dead. Like, I know
He's still gonna come back.
he's still here.
He's Stardust.
He's Stardust. He's dust.
know.
did you believe that Rex Blow died?
Heck yeah, I hated him.
Oh my god! You can't. We're not friends.
TJ, once I got to know him better through other people.
He's a misunderstood hero.
Yeah, whatever.
He saved the world daily.
Yeah.
All right, so
Duplicate.
after that though, issue 139. We're gonna go through a couple of these pretty quickly, leading up to the final issue, because we all want to hear your thoughts on the final issue. But issue 139 was Eve going out to save Nolan, Anissa
Yes.
getting slashed, and Robot arriving on the scene. Were you so Liz? You weren't surprised that Nolan being saved and him being alive?
No, well, I was nervous for Eve because Alan didn't want her to leave, or not Alan, someone on the ship
Yeah.
was telling her not to go,
Yeah.
and I was nervous for her because, of course, I thought she was
She always gets the shit under the stick. when
right.
it
She's
comes
like
to that
something
stuff,
just
so.
always happens to her.
Mhm.
So I was kind of I mean, I liked that they were going to save Nolan. I kind of like Nolan. I don't look at me like that. That's
you
how I
kind
feel.
of like Nolan?
Yeah.
Do you kind of like Nolan, Britt? Or do you love Nolan?
Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Say what?
Wow.
Girl's perspective, guy perspective. What do you want? So anyway, he's so I thought that was pretty cool. I was actually kind of surprised with her interaction with Anissa.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I was.
What did you think of
super
that, Brittany?
shocked.
Because I
like,
know you were
wow.
pretty hard on Anissa,
She-
rightfully
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, telling Eve to...
I would have left her ass out there.
Yeah, if you were Eve, would you have saved or tried to have saved Anissa?
I mean, she did help you. I don't know.
Because Anissa showed up to help Eve
Right.
save Nolan.
Yeah.
So then Eve tried helping. Well, pretty much all Eve did was take her body back after
I feel like
Eve died.
it would be out of
Or
character.
Anissa died.
Out of character
It's the
to just
human in Eve.
it would be out of
Yeah,
character to
so-
just let someone die.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, if you were in her shoes, though, like, and that was someone who had raped your husband.
Well, that's a really tough question to ask someone.
Liz doesn't like Nolan. Nolan was ripped in half, and I'm assuming you would just go, nah.
No, I was sad. But then again, I knew he wasn't dead, so it didn't really matter. I
No,
don't know.
I had a hard time with that. But no, I probably would have done the same. I mean, she knows, at that point, she knew that
Everyone was on the same
Mark
side. She
had
had changed.
a child with her.
At
right?
that point.
At that point.
That's when
At
she
that
found
very-
out.
that
That's
very
when she
moment.
said,
Therefore,
like, she
yeah.
She
saved
was
her.
like,
and
you'll
she's-
understand.
Yeah.
when you see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He looks just like him.
Mm-hmm. And that issue ended with the silhouette of Mark and Thrag fighting in front of the sun. So what did you guys think of issue 140? That was the entire issue took place
In the sun.
in the sun. The final
It was
fight between
brutal. Like,
Mark and Thrag.
just the melting, molten.
It was almost hard to decipher who was who.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It did.
So I
confuse
thought
me
it
a
was a
bit.
little much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was hard for me too.
That dialogue at the end, though.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, but
Gosh.
their
Yeah.
conversation was just
Because it's
again
all-
their writing was just fantastic.
Yeah, Mark's transmitter breaks or whatever, so it's all his thoughts of what he's planning to do and the difference between Thrag and Mark and why he's gonna win and everything like that.
Mhm.
It was intense though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about like Alan saves him at the end of that? He picks him up after Thrag melts into the sun, brings Mark back to the ship, and all of 141 now is Nolan. So that was a tough issue because we had all this action after action, and then we have an issue where something we never got in Invincible was a character who actually died slow or like actually had last moments other than being ripped in half or had an arm through them.
Right, but even Mark's last moment with him was quick anyway because he was dying like that
Yeah.
whole time. So
Oh yeah.
I felt like it was slow for Invincible, though.
Agreed.
I mean, he did kind of give him, like, more or less a
Well,
full
yeah,
issue.
because Mark was still healing,
Yeah.
and over that time, so at least
Even when it wasn't showing them, it was showing, like, Tara and Debbie grieving, you know what I mean? Like, things
Yeah.
like that, so.
I liked that it proved that even if you are Viltrumite, you can die as far as, like, not with just being
Just
ripped in half,
regenerating,
but,
yeah.
like, yeah, my heart's damaged.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And that was Nolan telling Mark that you should lead the Viltrumites. Mark not really wanting to, saying that the reason why he's a good person is because of him, and
And that's why he's saying, Nolan said, that's why you need to lead these people.
Mhm.
You changed me, you can change them.
Yeah, but then I loved Mark's response of it started with you because you chose to raise me as a human and didn't tell me who I was. So
Yeah.
he still made that good choice for Mark.
Right.
So I did. I really liked that he acknowledged what his father, like
Mhm.
all the good that really was there.
Mhm.
But it was sad to see him die.
Yeah. That ends with the blockade on Earth by Robot. Now,
I swore. I was so mad.
Really?
I was at work reading, and I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
Yeah.
And Kathy was like, "What's happening?" This girl I work with, and I was like, "Just never mind. Just something in my comic."
So previously, we had known that Robot had taken all the Viltrumite children and their parents,
Yep.
and we didn't know why.
No, please.
Well, yeah. So he just
Son
kept
of
them
a
as
bitch.
collateral to use against Mark if Nolan had died, or if Nolan had won. He wanted a bargaining chip, and so we got the Robot War, issue 142. We finally got to go back to Earth, see the Immortal, see his kids.
I mean, I like that. It was very,
It brought them back.
yeah, it was nostalgic just to see everybody kind of like band together and,
Mhm.
kind of be on the same page.
It was Yeah, bring all those characters back and putting them, Best Tiger. We got to see Tech Jacket, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, because you
Come
haven't
back.
seen them in so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost forget where everyone stands.
Britt.
Like,
Yeah.
who was with Robot and who was against Robot, like, during
Mm-hmm.
the uprising.
I think when it came down to the robot war, it was pretty much
They were-
just Robot and Xandal, Bulletproof,
Yeah.
And
But
then,
even
and
then-
then all his drones.
and then all the drones.
It was pretty much everyone against him in the end.
So who was with Robot at the end of his uprising?
Britt went to help him. I want to say it was Britt, maybe what's her name? Outrun. Maybe Yeti, Kaboomerang. I'm trying to picture at the end.
Was it any heavy hitters? Because I remember Britt, Sinclair, Amanda, obviously.
Amanda didn't. She stayed behind. Amanda stayed behind. Best Tiger stayed behind as like
Right.
the Resistance.
Yeah.
Monex,
Yes.
Pegasus. Yeah, I'm picturing that last page because it was the way one page ended.
Mm-hmm.
Or one issue ended with all of them kind of staring at him as they walked through the portal and changed sides.
So in terms of like a huge major event, this being the Robot War, like this is essentially what we've been waiting for, like closure with Earth and stuff like that. How do you guys feel, like as you were reading it, like as it concluded?
Well, can I bring up my favorite part before you give your opinion? Because I want to know what you thought about this too. My favorite page, it's still on Felix store too, and I always look at it to buy it. When, all the robot drones were fighting Monster Girl, and they were talking back and forth, and then she said, "You don't even know what love is," and he said, "I'm afraid you're right," and it's just like a realization of what drone he was actually in. He's like, he's here, this is him, and then they take him up into space. He does the they talk it out, he does the invincible punch, and then the ending of him basically still being alive
Ish.
but
yeah.
being
I
like the
know.
brain. So
I thought that was.
what did you think of all of that?
What'd you say, Britt?
I thought that was genius, keeping his brain,
Right? Yeah.
because he's still like doing good.
But it almost kind of makes me wonder because he planned out everything.
Robot?
Robot. So, like, I almost think that he was able to be caught in one of his suits to be killed to keep his brain. Like, he still...
You think he thought that through?
I do.
he
Because
wouldn't-
he still knew that they needed him. Mark, he proved his point when he was up in space talking to Mark saying, I'm right. And he was still thinking about it. And he was thinking, how can I make this still work for me? So, I don't know. I think it's a possibility that Robot kind of knew what was going to happen, knew that they would still need him in some capacity, and that was that. Because why else would he be... Like, I thought he was killed off really easily, very quickly, and that kind of surprised me. And, of course, I wanted Amanda to kill him. Why not, right? Like, that's what I was really waiting for.
Yeah, I like that she had the moment, though, where she found him. She was the one that was able to find him because, calling him out.
Right.
You know.
It just wasn't enough for me.
Did you guys
I love
not?
that.
Did
I
you
love
not
that
think
page.
about King Immortal, though, and the future?
Well, of course I did. That little universe where they go and live by themselves, is that what you're talking about?
No, King Immortal, like the flash forward issue that we always talk about,
Invincible
where it's
goes
in
in
the
the future.
Oh, I got it.
What's in the
Yeah,
future?
yeah,
And I remember
that's
seeing like the drones that looked like robot drones.
Yeah.
Technically, if time is cyclical or like a straight line, like you can't really change the future, Robot's brain was
helping King
was
Immortal.
helping King Immortal when he turned tyrannical and went crazy. So like what we were talking about is Robot planted ideas into King Immortal's
Which would
head
drove him crazy.
to drive him crazy, because he is, even though he can't make any direct decisions, he can still manipulate.
Yeah, because Mark still left. You left me here.
It all
and
happened,
this-
yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. That's always what I went back to think about.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I was always waiting for years, ever since we read that
To
issue.
have that connection.
Have
Where
that
is
issue
it?
come back. And he did it brilliantly. This issue also ended with Mark getting introduced to Marky. And then all of 143 was basically focused around Marky getting his powers, not being able to handle them, and Mark going up to him and like telling him he's his father. It was just cool getting to see Earth again, getting to see that moment with him and his son. What about the Mahler twins?
Seeing them again.
But I know you like them.
And then, what did you guys think of the end of this issue when it came down to Scott saying that he's staying
coming?
on Earth? Yeah.
I thought it was going to be another war or another fight.
Do you think Mark was going to force it? Did you think?
I sure did.
Yeah.
Like, too bad you're coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that was a big discussion that we had. We didn't know why end the issue with that. We didn't know where it was going to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
like,
he's been so like understanding with everything else. Why stop now?
but that's his son.
Level-headed Mark you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly thought that it was going to be a bigger issue. But of course, I liked where it went because it foreshadowed his thinking for the rest of the comic. But, I mean, I understood it, but it made me sad.
You guys read it so quickly that it's kind of not fair, but that was a cliffhanger. That was the last cliffhanger for Invincible ever.
For 2 months.
That we would ever have gotten.
So
like
you guys,
that's the last.
You guys really like.
That's the well. I mean,
really
we didn't know what.
I was disappointed. I was like, "That's the cliffhanger." That
we
you're
were all
on?
kind of like that's. But yeah, you're right. We did kind of like think.
Right, versus Nolan floating in space with guts everywhere.
Right. There's
I
a
get you.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right though. I mean, like Bill said, we were a little disappointed in it, but like you said, we resonated on that. Like, this has to be something major then. This has to be something big.
Right, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't really, no.
No, I feel like it all ended very quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like it was done.
Yeah.
So.
Now it's, I mean, that ending I think makes a little more sense when you go right into how this one starts, because the final issue is pretty much standalone. Like, it's a very self-contained story.
Let me ask first.
Kind of. I mean, because they threw in a couple new things. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but what about? So I'm kind of like bummed. I'm
Yeah.
totally bummed. Yeah, Angstrom Levy's son. I'm so bummed. That
Yeah.
could have been amazing.
I was more interested with Tara.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Her-
so cool.
Yeah. I like
Which you got a lot of story with Tara though. I think Tara was the star for
Not
a while
enough,
there.
though.
I felt like.
I mean, but that's one thing. That's Tara like viewing as a child, not much going on, versus this. It's all like teenage and adult, like
Those are
way more
growing.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this comic, the first half was. None of this comic was about, I think, Mark or the characters that we know. The first half of this comic was all about Marky and his journey, and then the second half was more about Tara and her journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I liked because it's moving on.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
What did you guys think of the art? Because the first half
I noticed
was
that.
Ottley. You noticed it,
I definitely noticed that.
but how did you feel about it? Was it, for me, it wasn't as jarring as I feel like it should have been. Like, I thought that Corey Walker did a really great job. I thought that Ottley did a great job.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like their styles almost melded into one kind of.
I did too. It wasn't as noticeable as at beginning issues. Because when I was reading, I was just like, oh, that's different. But it didn't.
Yeah,
and I
it
just
didn't
kept
take
going.
me out of it or anything. It
Yeah.
was,
Oh yeah, no, it was just like you kind of just like, oh,
And it
that
was-
happened, and then but that was it. It wasn't.
yeah.
a huge-
And it was helpful that it was a different story.
Yeah.
I did like that.
That helped
I
a
did
lot.
Like
Like,
that.
it made it seem like
It belonged.
like the sequel. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Directed by somebody else. Like, it's still the same. Star
makes
Wars, Empire Strikes Back was directed by somebody else, but it's still the same characters, but it felt like a different movie.
Yeah, I
And it
love
should've.
that they did that. It just tied everything up. I thought that was perfect.
So first, I want to ask, did you guys catch the symbolism behind the first page? Mark sticking his hand out and saying, Mark, it's time to
It's
find
the
out
same.
where you came from.
Yeah, it's the same exact speech.
It's the same speech that Nolan did 2 different times. When he
Yeah.
first said it's time to find out where you
Of
came from,
course.
and then lied to him, and then later
Told him
on
the
it's
real
like,
story.
now here's where you really came from.
And Mark actually, side story, there's a deleted script. Mark asked his mom to find his dad's shirt. That he's like, can I wear that shirt that Dad wore when he told me about stuff? And that's why he's wearing Nolan's shirt.
It's not
from,
the
like,
exact
the
same
first-
shirt.
It's
is
the
it?
same exact shirt.
No way.
Yes,
Just
it
pulled
is.
it up.
I wasn't looking. That's funny.
Same shirt.
But yeah,
we've also,
no, I
this
totally
is the fourth
did. I
time we've
was
seen it
like,
because
oh,
Thrag
okay.
did it too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it is.
Same
Let
shirt.
me see. Let me see.
That's funny.
Same shirt.
I love it.
It's like, hey mom, where's
And it was
that
cool.
shirt?
It was cool getting to see everything, the whole story of their race, leading up to current, in the beginning of this final issue, kind of like a nice little recap.
And I like that he said, that he really liked his time on Earth and it kind of made him who he was, and he wanted Marky to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like that for him.
Yep. And then this is actually the page that I ended up getting from Felix. It's the panel with the static images that go on of Marky's expression, which is great. I liked having that because it is a callback to the older issues of reusing the
Same
art.
panel.
Where he's talking to the comic book artist, and he's like,
That's kind of lazy, isn't it? Don't you think?
and then it just shows Mark's face 3 times, same exact thing, and he's like, don't you think that's kind of lazy? And then the comic book salesman 3 times, no. I think that's what he said, something like that.
Yeah.
The new Battle Beast. There was always the prophecy of another. We got to see who that was.
So, question for you guys: who is that? Because that's Battle Beast's daughter, right?
Right.
So who do you think is the mom? Did you think about that at all?
No.
Didn't even cross my mind.
Really?
No,
Oh.
I just thought that was some other person.
Mhm.
Or
No, I definitely
lion.
got that it was Beetlebeast's daughter. but-
She says that it's my father.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the other.
No.
The other
Lion.
Well, yeah, it's
Lion.
like she's his daughter,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I think Bill's asking you if you have any idea as to who the mother is,
No.
which we did, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you find out who the mom was?
Well, they
Kirkman
never.
told us.
Oh, who's the mom?
Some random.
Yeah, nobody.
Girl.
We thought
Oh,
it was
okay.
Thresher.
We thought it was
the
Thresher.
girl he
Because
was
they
with?
had a relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you look at her, it's not out of
No.
the realm of possibility that it could be Thresh's daughter, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, she's female, she's jacked. I like the shape of her head is a little different for some reason, but
Well, it's
I
just
get
because
it.
we never really saw female battle beasts.
right.
This could just be how it looks.
Right.
Oh, so sad though. I wish there was more story.
Mhm.
Maybe because I just love Battle Beast in general. I wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this next page after Battle Beast, Mark's talking to Debbie about having doubts leaving Earth. He's like, I have responsibilities here, and she basically says, you have responsibilities elsewhere, and like you've already made your choice. And he's like, hey man, like don't put that on me. I'm making a choice for what's
For
best for
everyone.
everybody. So my backstory is my pages is in 143. I wanted one with Marky and Mark on it. They were gone almost instantly. So the first page that I went for is a later page. And the way Felix works is when you buy something, you're basically going for the right to buy that page, but you don't get confirmation on whether you get it or not. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a page. So after I put in for that page, I also put in for this page, which I did get.
Awesome.
So yeah, I wasn't trying to hog all the final issue pages, I swear, but that's when I got this page of Marky playing with Science Dog, and what you guys disagree, but I think it looks like the Robot Buster a little bit. And then Debbie and him talking and them sitting in front of the TV.
What is just so cool about these original pages is you can see, like, look at the different color
Just
of
the
black.
coloring. I know.
You know what I mean? Like, this is literally, this was on Ottley's desk, and he physically drew all of this. Like, this is the original page. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I know. I loved it. I love it.
So are you going to tell us what the second one was that you got?
When
When
he
we
gets
get to
there,
it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
look in there.
I liked Marky calling him Space Dad.
Yeah.
And Real Dad. That whole
Real
conversation.
Dad,
He's
Space
young
Dad.
too, so that's how
It felt
yeah.
like Terra-esque.
right?
Yeah.
I know.
Mhm.
It's just very
Yeah.
kid.
And you know, I didn't really think that I was gonna like Marky for some reason. I
loved him instantly.
I felt after like he was talking, especially this last issue where it was him growing up, I loved him.
Yeah.
I know. I did too.
I liked Debbie taking him to pick out his new costume or to get his first
Yeah,
costume.
I loved that part. That was like my favorite. I was like, aww.
Haven't you always loved him for some reason?
Yeah.
The costume designer guy. What's his name?
Art.
Art.
Yeah.
I remember you liking. Oh,
Because
because when they were dating, right? Or when they were kind of like she like seeked him
Art
out for
was-
help or
Art
something
was-
like that.
Yeah, that weird.
Well, Art was there for her when.
I remember
no one-
you
When
talking
Noah-
about that. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
always liked him. He was always like, I don't know, the nice man.
The nice man.
The nice man.
Like all these kids are fighting.
I like.
So excited to see him.
Do you like his
I
costume?
did.
Yeah.
When he's like, "Oh, I know, I'm just what I'm gonna do for you." I'm like, "Oh, here it comes."
A little bit
and
looser gloves.
It
He's
looks
got the black
great.
border around the symbol.
yeah,
It's
I like
perfect.
that.
That is perfect. I love his gloves because it's a separate part from his costume. Like with Mark, it's just a straight line down. With those, it looks like he just he pulls them on, and you can see him like pulling them on, and like it being a cool kind of thing.
I just love the outlining.
Yeah.
Of the
yeah,
colors.
outline on 'em.
So the very first page that I went for, the page that it's probably my favorite page out of the comic, and I did end up getting it, is of Invincible,
I know he calls himself
or Kid Invincible.
Invincible.
Kid
My bad.
Invincible.
Seeing his first fight, I love how he's coming out of the panel and he does like what I assume is like his signature move is like a barrel roll.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love this page. I was stoked that I got it.
it's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool.
Just to get something with
Kid
Marky
Invincible
in
yeah.
costume.
Mm-hmm.
and Marky out of costume.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean? So yeah, those will be fun to
Put
frame.
up. Yeah.
Yes.
And he barrel rolls right onto this other guy's head, who we get to see a little bit of the current Guardians of the Globe. And I loved how. Do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember Darkwing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I hate him.
yeah.
Obviously.
Hated
I
him.
hated him.
Well,
Do you
'cause
remember what happened to him?
it was so small.
Well, I just remember him like getting trapped
Yeah.
In the dark.
in the dark. Like that's
Yeah.
all I remember.
So in issue 60, when all that crazy stuff was going on, Rex
The Invincible
died.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rex died. There was like all these small panels.
Mm-hmm.
One of those small panels was Darkwing getting pulled into the Shadowverse.
that's right.
Yeah.
Him pulling an Invincible into the Shadowverse.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh.
he was like,
He
I'm taking you
sacrificed
with me,
himself, yeah.
and that was it. So then you just
You just never saw him again. So this was a cool little callback and surprise that none of us would have ever predicted.
I mean, it didn't really mean too much, but it
No,
was still fun to see.
it was just fun.
Yeah.
It's two birds with one stone. We get to see Kid Invincible fight someone, and then it's also a little callback. And we also get to see the Guardians of the Globe
Right.
a little bit older now. We know that Amanda and Monax are still fighting with Pegasus and Best Tiger, and
I do
was-
like that.
yeah, it was neat. So what did you think when you turned the page and you saw this green
Oh, as soon
portal?
as I seen the green, I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
I was
It was
freaking
so-
out.
I know. I know.
Angstrom
like,
Levy,
oh,
my
yeah.
favorite villain.
Well,
Poor
first,
child.
yeah, and I was freaked out too because I'm like, where are they gonna go with this? This is the last issue. Like
Yeah.
how
They can't just leave
Yeah.
it hanging like with just
nowhere.
a
They're going
it goes
nowhere.
nowhere.
Yeah, just like the
But I
new Battle
wanted
Beast.
it to.
I know.
But
So
it's
what
okay.
do you? So why do you think? Because we know, because we asked Kirkman.
Obviously,
But why do you think that he did that?
just to show that
for me, it pissed me off.
depends on.
Right? Why not?
But to me, just to always show that there's a threat. There's always something
Mm-hmm.
else going on. They're always.
I love that it's like-
superheroes are always going to be needed.
Right.
I
there's
love that
always-
it's that there's that connection there too. It's like Invincible,
always in our
the next years. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, so now it's going to be him against Marky, and
It could be, or maybe he's he's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe
But
this is.
But at the same time,
No.
you already know that you see Marky older later in this issue.
Yeah.
So this happened when Marky was a little boy. So no matter what, we know that Marky's going to get older. We know that he's going to survive. We know that everything's going to be somewhat okay. You know what I mean?
He's coming
This
back
is
though.
just,
He just came back for a little bit,
Yeah.
went back, come back again.
He has a pet fox
Pretty
named
awesome.
Chainsaw.
That talks.
that
That's
goes
awesome.
screech screech and like asks questions.
I want just this character. I want more of this character so much.
I agree.
I just want more of this character because it's Angstrom Levy.
Yeah.
I actually love
Well,
Angel
yes.
Levy, so I totally get
He's
it.
awesome.
What?
No, like I love his character. I don't
Oh.
like him. He's a bad guy. Boo. He's written very well.
We get our
But he's
last-
not though. He had
But
his redemption.
But TJ is
He was a good
famous
guy.
for loving villains.
Yeah, but he was I like misunderstood characters. Rex
Okay.
Blood was misunderstood. Angstrom Levy was misunderstood. Like his whole ending, like he was pissed off. When they first met, Invincible spoiled his plans. At the very end, like he admitted
That man needed Jesus.
He admitted his wrongdoings, and he was headed to jail, and then got pulled into another dimension and got murdered.
Rightfully so.
But he was fully willing to like give up everything,
atone for
you know?
his-
Yeah.
Wrong, possibly.
Once a murder,
We'll see.
always murder.
See, I agree.
Did he murder anybody though?
I'm sure he did.
I mean, I guess if you're a woman beater, same thing.
I suppose,
He was responsible for the
you
Invincible
like-
War.
do you like
and,
Rex?
Killing
No.
Like robot?
lots
No.
of people. So we've got our final page of the Pentagon parking in rear. We got to see that in the final issue. And then our last look at Robot and Amanda.
I love that interaction.
Did you like that?
Oh, hey,
Yes.
the garbage can isn't tilted over, is it?
Is it normally knocked over?
I think
front of
isn't
the
it
Pentagon?
usually knocked over?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I honestly don't even know.
I think
We're gonna
it's-
have to go back and look.
Maybe I'm crazy.
But yeah, I liked their little interaction.
Yeah,
And then
I'm lonely. I need you. Blah blah blah. And she's just like, fuck off. It's great.
But did you get? Because I didn't get this until Ryan pointed it out. So, where she said, "The truth is, this is the world you wanted. Deal with it." And then I always thought of it because when I read it, I didn't zoom in on the text, but I took it as like, "I will."
No,
You know what I mean? Like it was, "I will."
I know,
Like,
and
Will
that's
was
another
bold.
reason why I thought he planned out this whole thing. Like,
Well, he has a fucking plan now.
Well,
Mhm.
we
So
know
maybe
what it
maybe
is.
right there
I don't
that's him saying that he knows he's gonna start influencing
Immortal.
and driving Immortal crazy.
Yeah.
I
Did
think-
anyone else notice duplicate, right?
Yeah.
That she was rating
Abraham Lincoln. I know, I laughed at that too.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry,
I
go
think
ahead.
the I will. I like why you guys think that, but I don't think that that's what Kirkman meant. That would have been a good question to ask
Yeah.
him.
Oh, why
We'd
didn't
have
we?
to
Missed
email him.
opportunity. But
Here, let me just text him really quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what?
Boop, beep, beep, boop.
you know what? He's listening right now. He's listening to us.
Right into the
Let-
Invincible Podcast.
let us know.
at
I think
gmail.com.
it's left to interpretation. It can be, but
I
think
love
the
that.
fact-
I like that it's open to
This
interpretation.
whole-
So-
but I want to know what he
I think
really
the fact that it's bolded means something.
This whole issue is left
I don't.
for interpretation.
Yeah.
I
I agree.
took it as
Yes.
Absolutely.
ominous, bad.
It is.
I think that's
Yeah.
cool that you guys. I don't think that either of us are wrong.
I think
Yeah.
the first time I read it as a sad, like, I will. And then the
That's
second
how I read
time
it.
I was like, oh shit, it's bold and maybe it means I will. And I don't want an answer. I like that. Just
Yeah.
like that.
I want an answer.
Oh, you like movies without endings, don't you?
I do. I love.
Oh, like No Country for Old Men. Do you like No Country for Old Men's
they're the
ending?
best. I love interpretation
Just tell
endings.
me.
Now, Ryan Ottley's final couple pages here
Oh
are
my gosh, I love
beautiful,
that page.
right?
I love that page.
This was his final page was my first choice.
Him looking
I
up
wanted
at
that.
the stars with just the two leaves like down there in the corner,
So
like blowing.
pretty.
It's beautiful. It's
His final page, he tweeted out that he wrote on the bottom of the page. He wrote "end," like the end on the bottom. That would have been an awesome page to get,
I
but
know.
it
That was-
went-
like I said, that was my
I'm sure
first.
it was
That was
the
my
first one to
first.
go.
That was
Yeah.
my first option. I wanted to go for it. It's just a little out of my price range though, but it's a really great page. I love him going to Nolan's grave and talking with him. Apparently, he does this often. You know, his nightly walk,
Yeah.
and just getting to like tell him like how his day was and everything, and we get a little bit of a setup towards for what he views his dad as this, you know.
He
Unreachable
idolizes
goal.
him.
You
Yeah.
know? Exactly. Like his dad he's so great and so amazing that he can never be as good as him, but he's gonna try.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it's great and it's happy, and at the same time though it plants the seed for what we know comes later on.
I know, and I didn't like that at all. Like,
Yeah.
because I felt bad that he never had Mark in his life.
Mhm.
You know, like, because then he would have seen that I don't know,
Yeah, it was
he wasn't
sad.
as perfect as he was. But yeah, it just made me sad.
Yeah. All right. Second half.
Yes.
The second half of this issue, Corey Walker's arc, or not arc, Corey Walker's half, takes off right where when Mark left Marky as a little boy, and this is all Tara's point of view. So
I thought that was perfect.
wasn't that cool?
Like, just to sum it up.
But
so
I just
quickly,
like, loved.
but
We
I
went
just-
over this. They poop lava. Like I was
That
laughing
was
hysterically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
was that Eve talking or Mark?
Both?
I thought
you
it
know
was
what?
Eve.
I actually thought it was Eve all the way up until when she was older and in bed And then I was like, oh, that's Mark talking. That's definitely Mark talking.
Yeah. I pictured him being Mark.
I wanted to ground her.
It's definitely.
Who do you think you're talking to, young lady?
When it got to that panel, it's obviously Mark because he says, "You're my daughter. I'm the emperor of our people."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it could be both of them going.
It could go back and forth
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right, Brittany. I
just
really
like
did.
her
I loved seeing this.
Mhm.
Like, this was great.
Her stupid spacesuit was a teddy bear.
I mean, come
Oh
on.
my god, I
It
didn't
was.
realize
It was like
it was
it's like a
teddy
kid's spacesuit.
Yeah. I didn't catch
Isn't
that
it
first
stupid?
bear. That's adorable.
Don't you want to punch her? I hate her. She's so cute.
Yep. And then her getting older and growing up and going away to college.
It was
Now again, I read this digitally, so when I was reading it, it was panel by panel, and every single panel made me sick to my stomach. I'm like, please stop getting
Stop
older.
getting older.
Stop
Older.
growing up, please God. And then like seeing her as a woman, just like totally
oh, yeah,
mature.
'cause you're like a dad.
Yeah.
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 Do you like her costume?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
It's perfect.
I mean,
It's very
I was,
fitting.
I was kind of excited to see no pink. I was like,
Yeah.
go Tara.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Get the blue and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like going off and just helping the betterment committee that the Viltrumites are doing. They're going around and helping all the different planets, and she's just a part of it that's just keeping up on them. Like, she'll go to the planets that they've helped and, make sure
it's
they're...
still okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mark talking about the fact that he's not growing a mustache.
Because that represented the old
The
way.
old ways.
I
Yeah,
love that they.
thought that was
That's not
great.
something that I would ever expect them to touch on, and they did.
Me either.
Not only that, but I don't know if you guys caught this, but their outfits are also changed. He changed the colors to yellow and blue, which
Yeah.
I love. That's so smart.
I thought the same thing when I was looking at that. I was like, I really like their new outfits.
Yeah.
You got Old Man Alan.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
That-
bad that
that
they
was
like.
sad.
Yeah.
Because I always liked Alan.
I mean,
Yeah.
they started out. Like, they're the ones who started it all. Like, sitting down, having that conversation.
Sitting on the moon and talking
Yeah.
about it.
So it's really sad to see them
I just
like
wish it
that.
ended
I feel like-
better.
Yeah. I feel like Alan was like Mark's first real introduction to outside of Earth.
A bigger world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and I mean, I love that Alan was good friends with Nolan. Like, that still surprised me, like, how quickly their relationship became important to this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was sad for me to see that they couldn't.
Continue that
Yeah,
and be like
continue it.
long time friends, but at the same
Yeah.
time, that's what makes this comic so good.
That's
It's like
true.
that comic before. What was it? It was 143, I think. The comic before the issue before the last, where like they're friends and they went through the whole end of all things,
I
and
would
then
say
it
they were
ended.
acquaintances.
Right. Well, you think that they are, but then they go all the way through, like from 133, the end of all things, when he realized that he ultimately got Oliver killed. Then they go through like 12 issues and don't really talk about it, and then it ends with him saying like,
By the way,
we're
Can I-
cool,
can
but
I
like
count on you,
we're not
or-
going to be friends. Like
Right.
we can't be friends after this. I love that. That's so awesome.
But this was a perfect reminder because I can't imagine how you guys went through this, like months and months and months in between.
It was difficult.
But even just a reminder of it's the last issue. We have to put Oliver somewhere in here. There was everyone else, but
Yeah.
here's your reminder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then so the Coalition fights the Viltrumites because the Coalition is, taking from the poor to keep them afloat, and they're not needed anymore because the Viltrumites are doing such a good job maintaining the peace and bringing peace throughout the galaxy that the Coalition of Planets isn't necessary.
And this is the point, actually, where I was a little nervous that he was turning, like, Rex-like.
Mm.
Like, where he's like, I think I can run the world. you
Mark?
know? Yeah.
Oh.
I just had that quick little, like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, it was squashed. But
Yeah.
still, like, I got nervous.
Yeah. Do you guys think, and we didn't talk about this on our podcast at all, after the fact, after this fight with Alan, we don't see Alan again after this. Do you think they're on speaking terms? Do you think they kind of made up after this?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
possible?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, made up as much as they could have,
Mm-hmm.
but still support each other. Hey, if you need me, I'm here.
I mean,
I think
he literally helped Alan up. Like
Yeah.
they're like he's still cordial and he's still very
as long as their
respectful.
ideas align,
Right.
they will be friendly.
I think
Well,
that they go ahead.
Not only that, Alan helped Eve when Mark was potentially dead for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that 5 year between Eve and him.
I think the
There's
way
no
they,
way.
I think the way that they leave off here in 144 is kind of the same way that they leave off in 143, where it's like, we're still not friends. I still wouldn't say I obviously, what makes this issue so great is that it's all open to interpretation. My version of this is I don't see them being friends after this, but like you said,
respect
Liz,
you,
if you need me, depending on if it's good for my people and depending on, you know, the situation, I'll probably be there for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I don't see them ever like hanging out and like talking about
Exactly.
life ever again,
Yeah.
which I love. I love that.
Tara and Ursel.
I liked seeing Ursel with skin tone.
Do you like her bangs?
No.
The look on your face.
No, I do not. But it was kind of fun to see them together and talking and.
So this was probably my least favorite 3 pages in the entire comic, because I felt, as a lot of people do, that these could each be major arcs, and especially with Tara saying like the Betterment Committee wants to break away from the Empire, like that's a huge arc. That's Tara
going against
her father. This is Tara, who we saw as a fucking baby.
Yeah, I know.
Like going against her father, and then it's completely just
You know what? And too, I
grazed
feel like,
over.
Well, and I feel like it kind of gives hints of this is what could have happened.
Exactly. That's what this issue is about.
Yeah.
It's about like, you know,
Right.
open to interpretation, and Robert Kirkman saying, "This is what I could have done, and these are some of the ideas I had moving forward." But it's had its time.
The world continues, and
I
there are
agree.
still interesting stories to be had. Just because it's the end, what do you want at the end? Everyone to die? Because that's the only way stuff will stop.
Yeah.
Like the world
Right.
keeps spinning.
And
you know what I
and
mean?
that's what I felt. So I was kind of okay with it, but it took me a little bit to get there. You know.
And then with this jump in time, we've got Eve aging.
Dude, did you freak out?
I did.
Okay.
Because for one, it was like, oh, finally, Eve's back. And then,
To see her
but
like
it was
that.
like old, dead, half dead Eve.
I know. I was so sad. I was like,
Like,
really?
they even, like, clouded out her eyes. It was
Yeah.
Oh. And then poof, I'm back. I was like, yes.
perfect.
Mark, like, rad.
I know.
He's going to have a wife
like-
who constantly gets younger and younger.
Yo, can
and
you
be like, "Ooh, we
imagine
gonna
for,
do
like,
it tonight."
All that time that she was, like, really old, and he was like, love you, babe.
Love you.
But like I said to Billy, I was like, but technically, can't she outlive Mark then? He's like, I
Yeah.
said the same
Yeah.
thing. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Bill said that to Robert
Yeah.
Kirkman.
I did say it.
No, she
Yeah.
got herself killed.
Hence the title of the comic, Invincible. Everyone
It's
just
about
they're
Eve.
all none of them can die.
Ah.
Hooray!
Yeah, right.
Hooray,
She'll die
hooray.
when she's ready
What
to
movie?
die.
Yeah.
I feel the same
Hooray!
way.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Hooray!
Page master.
She'll die.
Yeah, the fucking page master.
She'll die of a broken heart.
Die of a broken heart.
Yeah.
It's the only way people can die.
That's what Kirkman said.
Oh my god.
It is exactly what Kirkman said.
What,
Yeah.
really?
Because Bill said,
Good job,
"Well,
Britt.
we said exactly what we just said," and he's like, "Oh, then Bill said, well, then Eve can live forever," and then
Mark dies.
Kirkman
And
said,
it's tragic.
"Kirkman said, oh, well, maybe Mark dies, and then her powers get turned off because of a broken heart, and then she dies."
Yep.
Good job, Brittany. You're smart. We've got Mark going around to the different planets, showing that they're trying to help people, and
Yeah.
Sometimes it works.
sometimes it
Sometimes
doesn't.
didn't.
Marky wearing his dad's costume again. Still, I mean, it's still his. It still has the black lines and everything like that.
But just older and
Mm-hmm.
having that conflict with his dad.
What did that remind you of?
Well, obviously, him and Nolan.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, no, a flash of like something bad's gonna happen, but
It's just another blip in their life, another thing like that. And I love the idea that Marky was doomed to be evil, and he says that because the way he was born out of hate, whereas
Love
Tara
it.
was born out of love. And it's also
that's so real. Like, like
Yeah, that was really sad to read.
I
wasn't
know.
it?
It was hard to read. It was.
Not only that, but you get the sense of like, even if Anissa wasn't the case, like, was Marky doomed to repeat his father, like, and his father, you know what I mean? Like, they always have this father-son battle, you know?
Now, do you think Marky... Because I never took this as Marky was bad. Like, I don't take this as, like, he did something bad in the world. I think him and Mark just fought.
I think he just felt lost.
I agree with you because Mark obviously was doing what he does, and poor Marky has no one to talk to about this.
And even Mark says that, you've done good things on Earth for the planets, for Earth's solar system or whatever. And so I picture Marky being a hero, being someone who did a lot of good, but got to the point where he's working so hard constantly to be good enough, and he keeps seeing that he's not good enough. Meanwhile, everyone around him is probably like, hey, look, you've made things so much better. You're doing great stuff. And he's like, no, I have to do better. I have to do better. He keeps looking up, seeing that his father's doing so much.
And he accidentally killed Monster Girl or something like that.
I don't know about that.
Well, why not?
But maybe he just got to the point where he's like, I can never be better than him, so I just have to. And then he just flies and goes to him and then attacks him in his house.
name is Marcus by now.
Yes,
Marcus.
they do say Marcus.
Marcus Murphy.
Eminem.
Yep.
Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Eminem?
Product placement. It's so stupid.
Eminem? Marshall Mathers?
No, like the candy.
M&M.
Come on.
Oh, I see.
What's happening?
I see what's happening. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So this is one of those pages that I almost want to frame.
It looks like Batman Beyond.
Beautiful.
It so does.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It looks.
Nathan
How did he do
Fairbairn
it?
Coloring that,
How did they do it? How did they make it look like fucking dusk and the color?
So I didn't take it as Batman because I mean, sorry, TJ. I love Batman, just not the recent ones.
It's okay.
But no, as far as I looked at that as the newer Thor movie.
Oh
yeah,
Ragnarok.
Thor,
yeah.
That's how I took that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I like her little glasses.
Yeah.
I like.
She changed up the goggles to be those sunglasses.
Yeah. She's so trendy and cute. Love her.
She's so cool.
I know.
She's so cool. I really wish we would have gotten a comic with her. I would have loved that.
We still might.
I know. That's honestly, that's what I'm secretly
Everything is
hoping.
left to where they can totally do a spin-off on any of this.
Mm-hmm.
I just even love the way that she's standing with her legs. Just love it.
Yeah.
A female version of Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Even better.
And this, her refusing to kill the champion, that this guy from this alien race, and this whole speech that Mark
showing
goes back
passion.
and forth.
Yeah.
That's the Eve in her.
What's that?
That's the Eve part.
Yeah. It is.
Oh yeah.
What's interesting, a little behind the scenes, is wasn't this scene one of the first things Kirkman wrote for the end?
Yeah, he said the gladiator scene.
He said the gladiator scene was one of the first things he kind of wrote
in his mind.
In his mind.
And that
thought
makes sense
that he
to
wanted
me.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to get to
He
that
wanted
point.
to build to that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, and I actually really like that. Again, like a movie, this is the end. Now, how do I work towards it? I like seeing that.
Yep, and just nailing in the fact that this is the Viltrumite way. They
don't kill.
Yep.
And then the final 2 pages of Invincible are Mark and Eve on this planet. Tara's nearby, and Eve telling him that you've done it. You've done everything your father,
wanted you to
do. You've changed everything for the better. And Mark says, I keep thinking about, something he said to me during our big fight. What will you have after 500 years? And just Mark
just look off into the sunset.
Looks off in the sunset. And that's it.
And meanwhile, I'm thinking, wow, Eve must have died a bunch of times.
That's what I thought. But then Ryan and a lot of people don't think that was that long. They just think that this was maybe 100 years. But he's just maybe thinking, I'll have this in 500 years.
Oh, but look how old he got.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think. I personally think it was
yes.
definitely 500 years, just because I don't have any reason to believe that it wasn't.
Yeah, but Tara hasn't aged that much.
I think Tara would have looked older.
And in 500 years.
So maybe it was 300 years.
Maybe. Either way,
I'd say 250 maybe.
Yeah.
247.
So, were you guys satisfied with the last issue of Invincible?
Or the end in general, because you read it as a big old hunk.
Yeah, I liked it because there actually was an ending.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that for anything, and any kind of story, really. Any of those superhero, they just go on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Where there was
Or
an
get
ending.
rebooted and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one was good.
Mm-hmm.
This was the ending we were given.
It's the ending we got.
It's the ending we got.
So you didn't really like it that much?
I did and I didn't. I like it for so many reasons, and I really think it's fantastic how they go through the time, and like I get it. I get it. But I just can't help that they threw in some things that I really wanted more of.
Yeah.
I think he did that on purpose too. He wants you to want more.
So it just made me sad that like that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really
So the only thing you didn't like about it was the fact that
it was over.
there was that it ends
that it's over.
and that there's teases
of what other amazing story arcs there could have
That's
been.
what stinks. That's what stinks is that like if you would have left out those things, it would have felt more satisfying.
Okay.
It would have felt more satisfying. But the fact that those things were thrown in there, and you're like, wait, tell me
what
about happened.
that.
What happened?
I know.
Don't ask questions. Like you don't like Marky and Mark. You didn't even see a punch thrown.
I know.
Like I wanted to see a punch, like something.
or like what we said, like the what Marky or Marcus had dealt with to get him to the point where he do that.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the
I
end of
guess
it all,
we've
it
seen
doesn't
it all
exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Like
And
that's what I said. I get it.
And that's something that Kirkman had even said that, you've seen this all before. Why would you want to see another fight between two big, armies in space? You've seen it.
Yeah.
It happened. It's over.
But
this is
I
what
would have
matters.
been great with some more Battle Beast action,
Right.
with some more Angstrom Levy, whatever, and the Fox. Like, it's fantastic. Chainsaw.
What if
Can you
that
imagine?
fox?
He's a chainsaw.
What if that fox was actually the one that
Was
could
Angstrom Levy?
No, could like go into different dimensions, and Angstrom's son was his sidekick. What
wait,
about
was
that
it actually
twist?
his son, or was it just a younger version of him?
He said his father.
His father. So
Yeah,
his father.
he did say his father.
This
but-
is the dimension of my father's greatest rival,
Yeah.
Mark
So
Grayson.
I like the ending. I just like it was hard for me because I know I read it quickly, but I still feel like it ended very quickly, and so that was a little hard.
It
for
did.
me,
It ended very, very quickly, but it had to.
I guess.
Yeah.
It had to.
So that was my only complaint is how fast it was wrapped up.
Like,
Like I
I
felt
wish-
like there's still new stuff being introduced.
Yeah.
I wish the last. What was it? How many did we read?
You guys like 6.
6. I wish they did the last one as
Another
The
6.
six.
The six.
The six.
Yeah.
I know.
I think they could have stretched out probably another 2 years. Like they could have kept the last issue the same, but the stuff in between with the robot war, like I felt they could have done more. Like maybe they could have stretched out the last issue a little bit more. Like stuff felt throughout the last 6 a little too truncated for me. You know what I mean? Compared to the rest of Invincible.
But I kind of like that it was, of course, a happy ending because who doesn't like?
I know, right? And we didn't think that.
I really didn't think it was going to be.
Well, when it's called the end of all things.
I actually felt
I
that
just
way
think of death.
more about the first 6 or the first couple issues of End of All Things, and not so much about the issues that you guys are talking about. Like I felt like 133, 34, 35, even like 36, 37. They were all kind of like a little slow. We were kind of waiting for something to happen. And then once the war happened with Thrag and everything and everyone, I felt like it started to pick up. Nolan died. I felt like it started moving really quickly. I actually, the last 6 issues, I was really happy with. And I was over the moon for the last episode, or the last issue. I loved it.
Like I said, the more I think about it, the more I like it. But it's just one of those things, I think because I just read it, I need a little time to kind of sit on it.
When did you read it?
I finished it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So like I
I
said,
just
I
read it yesterday.
Yeah.
Fresh.
It's so fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to
It took
work
a
out.
lot.
It does take at least 24 hours for you to be like, okay, like that felt. My favorite thing was the amount of hope in it. You know what I mean? Like it felt.
It did.
So hopeful compared to the rest of all the tragedy that happens in Invincible.
Yeah.
And
plus because you wanted to help, not control.
so here's something cool. So Ottley posted a picture of a fist, and it's a fist that had a little bit of blood on it, and he was like,
"Did it look feminine?"
"What we don't know.
It looked
wasn't
manly.
enough.
It was like
was
it's
right.
got a lot of knuckles on it, like a lot of definition.
And what did he say
Got a
on
lot
it?
of-
It does. It looks like a man's
so
fist.
it has more
It
than
really
4.
does. I'm not even kidding.
He just said we'll find out soon.
Find out soon, yeah.
And that's
then we
not something
didn't
we've
see
seen
it.
yet.
We didn't see it.
When
We
did
didn't see
you
it in the
post
last
that?
issue. He posted it before the last issue.
So is that like a teaser of like something he's working on?
It's most likely not anything. It's not a comic. It's nothing like that. It's
I think
just,
he said he's completely
like
done with
yeah,
everything.
he's done with Invincible.
He's
It's just
done.
it's one of those things that we just don't know what it's for yet. It could be advertising for anything. Maybe it's
the next compendium.
Maybe it's the next
or,
compendium.
Like that's definitely a guy's
Yeah.
Do you think?
fist.
What do you guys think?
I like how the glove is conveniently cropped out.
Yeah, because it could be Mark. If you could see Marky's, yeah. Do you guys think it's out of the realm of possibility that all of the arcs that you saw could actually be touched on in the future by different artists and writers as like a one
And
shot?
would you want that?
I would.
Yes and yes.
I mean, I would. And that's why I even wondered if, like, later on, Guardians of the Globe or whatever is going to, like, meet again with that. Because at the end, we saw Girl Battle Beast. I don't know her name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I actually don't think
Like,
she has one.
fighting
With the coalition.
with the coalition.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe we'll see that at some
Yeah.
point.
Could you imagine Alan, like,
That'd be
her
so
coming to Alan and be
badass.
like, listen, I understand you hate Viltrumites. We have a war coming up. I need you on my side.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Yeah. I love crossovers.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All games.
I thought it was a cool thing. Like, that's me,
Being
like,
hopeful.
being hopeful, but then also trying to make sense of Kirkman putting, this is how it ends. I don't care how other people tell the story, but it happens like this. You know what I mean? Like, Marky and Mark
That's
fight. How it happens, you can make some cool stuff up, but Kirkman, I want this to be what happens in it.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
this is the reason why Marky fought.
Right.
Like how it gets to that point. It's up
Right,
for
I even said exactly what happened, but you can make whatever cool thing
Yeah.
happen as like a one shot.
I like that.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Yeah.
Right, I know. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
So before the final issue, we had placed a couple bets to see what to try and guess.
We haven't gone over these yet.
We haven't. So let's go over these real quick. We all agreed that Marky would not leave Earth as a child, and we were right.
Okay.
We all agreed that we will see the new Battle Beast, and we were correct.
Okay.
We all agreed that we would not see Wolfman at all, or the Wolf Corp, and that was correct. We didn't see them. We all agreed that we would see a time jump for more than 3 years, and we definitely got that. We all agreed that Tara would not develop any new powers, like Eve's, because we always had the theory that maybe she would develop Eve's powers. That didn't happen, and we were all correct on that. Now, here's where the discrepancies come in. Will we see the spaghetti monster?
Oh yeah.
TJ said yes. Bill and I said no, and we didn't see it at all.
No.
We did bring
It
that
was
up.
done.
We did bring that up with Robert
I
Kirkman.
was going to ask if you did.
Oh yeah, we asked him. We asked him everything. Well, that we thought of at the time. Will we see Mark in his classic costume? TJ and I said yes. Bill said no.
So I'm still winning.
Yeah.
Because TJ's down 2 points now, and you're.
Well, I have
you're
it.
second.
Don't bother keeping track. I got it. Right here.
Oh.
Oh.
That means you lose.
Yeah.
I know. It goes off the rails in a little bit.
But that was surprising to me. Like, I was so sure that we'd see Mark in his costume.
His classic costume,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but we didn't.
But we got a nice
You
little-
we
got it.
Mark
You got it in the
and
last.
Tara,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we even kind of saw it in
Doesn't
a flashback.
count.
Oh no,
Doesn't
I know. Will either Alan or Eve die?
Kinda.
I said no. TJ said no. Bill said yes.
And Eve died.
Sorry,
No, she
die.
didn't.
Eve
She was
fucking
on the verge of
died.
death.
She always comes back on the verge of death.
No,
she
she
does not
fucking
die.
died.
She does not come back from death.
She
Oh wait,
died.
Bill,
Her
you
heart's-
said no.
No.
Oh, yeah,
So
no. She died, but she was on the verge.
Yeah, yeah.
And go back to what I said.
Sorry, Bill.
So I'm still winning.
No, you said yes at that.
I
We
did.
all said yes.
I just
Oh, okay.
No, you were right.
You idiot.
Okay.
We asked him, will it be a tragic ending? TJ and I said it wouldn't. Bill said it
So
would.
me and TJ are tied for losing now.
Will a scourge virus make an appearance?
I said no.
Me and Bill said no. TJ said he thought it would. And
It did.
No, it didn't.
No.
It was in the flashback.
We're,
No,
so it's in the
as
costume.
like a
That's
predominant.
something new.
Yeah.
We're saying nothing in the
Story-wise.
flashback matters.
Nothing
No.
in the flashback matters, no.
No, that's not
Because
something
then Mark
new.
was in his classic costume in the final issue.
It's close.
And then we said, will the last page be drawn by Cory Walker? And Bill, you were wrong. You said no. And it was.
So then you win.
Yeah, I got one wrong. You and TJ got 3. Our tiebreaker was kind of fun. We thought if there was a tie, we said how many words will be on the final page. I should have said final panel, which would have covered whether or not it would have been a splash,
Oh yeah.
because that would have been better. But the final page, I said 8. TJ said 4. Billy said 12. There was 56.
So I was closest.
Yes, you were on that.
So TJ lost all the way then.
No,
Oh,
tiebreaker
what?
didn't count.
Anyways, that's
Why didn't Alan use the Scourge virus during?
Maybe
the
he
war?
did.
yeah, maybe
yeah,
you
I
did.
guess he could have.
One thing that I've always been
So I
thinking
win.
about. One thing that I had been thinking about and I wanted to bring up was why were Thrag's kids so weak? Remember the ones that just like exploded and
You
everything
mean
like
the
that?
ones that he was like chucking at Mark?
Yeah. Didn't we talk about that? How they weren't
We did
called?
talk about that on. We talked about that on the
Yeah.
previous episode.
So
Well, they probably weren't trained.
They
Yeah.
were like the
Here you
peons.
go.
They were nobodies.
yeah. So wouldn't
Like Mark
like if
trained Oliver.
yeah, but if you're raising Viltrumites and not culling them and not remember the whole Viltrumites were the whole point of them was that they killed their weak. If you're not doing that, so does this new race of Viltrumites, are they kind of all varying levels of strength?
Oh, absolutely.
They would have to be.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Because he talks about how half the population of the Ultramites were wiped out because they only had the strong to live, and obviously that would still happen. You know what I mean?
That's just an interesting thought that Mark's empire. While there's definitely strong ones, there's probably weak ones too, just like there was with Rag.
Weak as in like I don't think that weak.
No.
I think if you're going up against someone like Mark,
Yeah.
but Mark.
Marcus
they
is going to
can
be
fly,
one of the strongest
but
ones.
this one
Yeah.
can fly
75%.
that much further.
Yeah.
Like that week.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marky, because he's
He's
more
75%, yeah.
more Viltrumite than Mark is.
Yeah.
But then Mark also has the blood of Argo,
So
but
does
so
Marky.
does Marky. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, a lot of spin-off options out there, guys.
Remember, next episode is going to be Guarding the Globe Volume 1 and 2. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Email is theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you once again, Brittany and Liz,
Thank you.
for doing this and finishing. Congratulations
fun.
on finishing Invincible.
It's not an easy feat.
Yes,
It is, but it's fantastic.
It's a lot to. That's why I was kind of shocked at Corey Adams, who wrote into us, because like to know that he picked up issue 133.
And it's ending.
Like he knew he was getting into something like big. 133 issues. That's a lot.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody on Twitter today about, starting Invincible from the beginning, and he's starting with the New Readers Volume 1 and reading up to it, so it's exciting.
Think of like the compendium, like the first compendium. Handing that to someone, they're like, fuck you, and that's only 48 issues.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's
of the compendium, the new one got announced today.
Compendium 3.
Yeah, and it's the cover is issue 105 of Invincible flying upward.
I thought that was a stock image on Amazon. I didn't know that was the official cover. Because that'd be weird. They have two
Because
covers
it's a different
where-
cover. It's a different cover. Maybe
I've never done that before.
Maybe the
Yeah,
one I looked at
compendium.
was. I didn't see it on Amazon though.
Well, yeah, I think that's the stock image.
Maybe.
Anyways, thank you everybody for listening. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Love you, bye.
is my tone
I'm just like
here.
oh, shh.
Poe was always my favorite Teletubby.
Dip.
Just because
Poe, Tinky Winky,
la la. Poe.
No,
Dipsy.
no, it's Tinky Winky.
La
No,
la.
Dipsy. La la.
Pow.
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 Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Pow.